Good morning, afternoon, or evening, depending on where you are and what time of day it is when you watch this video. My name is Z, and welcome back to my gaming corner. In this, our second episode of Crestfall, we are going to begin with road hierarchy, and we're going to start putting in our first blocks for residential, commercial, and industry. And some of the mods we're going to be using today, we're going to be using Ploppable Rico because I love using Rico. And Rico, the RICO, stands for Residential, Industry, Commercial, and Offices. And with the Rico pack, you can select low density residential, high density residential, low density and high density commercial, offices, industry. You can select all sorts of things from like townhouses that look really cool like that, to apartment complexes, to imperial courts. I downloaded so many assets because, I mean, doesn't that apartment building just look absolutely amazing? We're not going to be wasting our money putting stuff down. And like on the high density stuff, I have giant towers that we can play with. I have uber giant towers, so we can make a really nice downtown section. We have smaller-ish towers. We have bigger-ish towers. We have lots of things we can play with. We even have some mixed-use stuff. So it's missing its underbelly because here on the high-density commercial, if you come here to scroll over here to the mixed-use stuff, this is the base of that tower, and then you put that big tall tower on top of it and just align it, and it looks really, really cool. So you can have commercial on the bottom and residential up top. We can do all sorts of stuff with Rico. But there was one thing I forgot to do at the end of our last episode, and that is to set up the traffic light for this single point urban interchange. So now that we have our roads built, if we click on this little icon right here, we can see where the wind is at, so we know where to put our power plants. Because we're going to start off with like a wind power plant. And there's some good wind over here by the water, and that'll be really good if we'll put our water intake over here. We just have to run a pipe all the way out here. That's going to be kind of expensive. There's also some wind over here, but it's far away from the water. But the other thing we can do is we can build a water tower, like right in the middle of the highway, right here by the interchange. Maybe one on each side of the highway, and then have that be our water supply. And then as we expand out towards the water here, we can do that. The interesting thing with the water tower is the water tower is $240 per week, and it costs $3,500 to build. Whereas the water intake is $240 a week, and it costs $2,500 to build. So the water tower is $1,000 more expensive for the exact same upkeep. So it's actually more economical to use the water pumping station than it is to use a water pipe. You save a whole $1,000. Okay, and now I have a mod called Toggleable Whiteness. So I can toggle the whiteness on and off. So basically what that allows me to do is it allows me to click off the info views while keeping the building menus up. So like if I have Ploppable Rico here and I select this, you can now see the detail of the tower. Or if I wanted to put in, this actually makes a huge, big, ginormous tower. I also have casinos. I have big box stores like Best Buy or Bloomingdale's or a city Target. You can actually see the Target logo right there. So I downloaded a whole bunch of stuff. I have this big 7-bets casino. It's really fun. Anyway, but it allows me to click and actually place this stuff. Whereas if you don't have the mod, it actually turns the whole thing white and shows you where to put stuff, and it can be a royal drag not being able to see what you're actually trying to do. So what we need to do is in this menu right down here on traffic routes, you can click on junctions, and you see here there's 3 stoplights on this road. We're going to turn off that stoplight, we're going to turn off that stoplight, and we're going to turn off the in-game default stoplight. Now, it knows what to do with a single point urban interchange, but you can't edit it. So we're going to turn that stoplight off. And then what we're going to do with Traffic Manager President Edition right here, which I talked about in our last episode, we're going to come right here to Time Traffic Light. we're going to hold down the control key and we're going to click that intersection. And what that does is that sets up a 3-state light. So it's going to have this lane and its left turn go, then this lane and the left turn go, and then it's going to have the opposing left turns go. And we can actually click on stop, and then you can see it actually has 4 phases. So it has each side go at a time, but it does it so well that it works. So we're going to start the traffic light. So that way we have one traffic light right in the middle of the interchange. And that's why it's called a single point urban interchange. This is going to be a big urban downtown. The highway is going to be right in the middle of it. And the single point means you have one stoplight that controls the entire intersection. On each end, you have lanes that are leaving and lanes that are joining, but since they're all going the same direction, you don't need to have a stoplight here for a right turn to go right because it has its own lane. The only point of contention you have is the middle where everyone's turning left, and so you have one stoplight. That's why it's called a single point. Where the point conjoins, like where the conjunction happens, that's where the stoplight is. For a single point urban interchange, you have one stoplight for the entire interchange. And that's why it's called a single point interchange. Okay, so we have the stoplight set up. Let's talk about road hierarchy. You want to use road hierarchy to help funnel your traffic in and out of your city without traffic getting in each other's way and without causing traffic congestion or a lot of just mess. And when you have a big giant main avenue going through your city, you want to limit the number of intersections on that main avenue. And because we're starting out small, we're not going to be using stoplights. The game will automatically put in stoplights for us when we have a big giant intersection on a big main road like this. So we're using the big 6-lane road for the main intersection. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go down one step. So the 6th lane is 3 lanes in each direction. We want to go down one step to where we only have 2 lanes in each direction. And these will be our arterial roads that will funnel our industry, funnel our residential, funnel our commercial into the big giant artery. So the arterial roads take you to the arteries that are the big roads through the city that take you to the highway and take you to the bigger non-stop roads. So think about it this way. The arteries of your city lead to the highways. The arterial roads lead to the arteries, and then your local roads lead to the arterial roads. So your local roads are the small roads where you build your residentials and build your industry. The arterial roads lead to the arteries of your city. The arteries lead to the highways, and the highways lead you out of the map. You never, ever, 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 ever want to zone on your arterial roads unless that zoning is commercial. Because what that does is the industry will be making the goods, and they will send out delivery trucks to deliver to the commercial areas, and they will be using the outer lane. Whereas the residential traffic that's going from the residential zones to the industrial zones will be using the inner lanes. So if you put your commercial on the big roads and your industry out on smaller roads, you should never have to worry about that much traffic getting in each other's way because they'll all have their own dedicated lanes of where they want to go. So on this big road right here, what we want to do is we want to try and have a minimum of 2 nodes between our intersections. If you want to even go 3 nodes between your intersection, you can. So we're going to come down to a small 4-lane road. And this road is part of the network extensions bond. And I'll have a link to that down in the description box below. But what this will allow you to build are these small 2-lane roads that have the same footprint. See how it only fills up 2 spaces? It has the exact same footprint as a 2-lane road. but it fits 4 lanes. And we're going to use these 4-lane roads as our arterial roads. So as we check off everything, we can actually see the nodes on the highway. So this is the intersection of the highway, and then you just see I have 1, 2, 3 nodes. If we want to do 2 nodes between our intersections, that leaves us room for plenty of expansion. If you want to have 3 nodes between your intersections, then that is even better. The farther away your intersections are, the more traffic you can accommodate. Do not put intersections at every 10 length of 10. So from here to there is exactly 10. From here to there is exactly 10. But if you put intersections at every 10, it's going to cause a lot of traffic jams. If you go every 20, it's better, and every 30 is better still. So what we're going to do is we're going to go out all the way to 30. And I'm going to set this up that there is no zoning on our arterial roads. We are not going to zone on our arterial roads. I'm also going to try my very best to limit the number of 4-way intersections we have. I'm going to try to only use 3-way intersections, because what that'll do is that will limit the number of stoplights we have to use, it will limit the number of roundabouts we have to use, and it will also help mitigate a lot of the traffic. So coming out at 30 points, so in 10, 20, 30 points out, we're going to come out at a 90-degree angle. There's no zoning, and we're going to come out 30 units. And this should cost $2,400. Boom, there it is. So the reason we do that and have our big arteries be 3 lanes each direction and our smaller arterial roads be 2 lanes each direction, it allows you to have dedicated turn lanes if we had a 4-way intersection. Now, where arterial roads meet the arteries, we will have a 4-way intersection. I will eventually have a road come out in that direction, and I'll extend the 6-lane out in this direction. But for right now, building our residential out here is what we want to do. Now, what's going to happen is when I start putting in the zoning for these 2-lane roads, because these small 2-lane roads are our local roads, and what we're going to do is we're going to make sure that there is always 2 sections between intersections. So there's an intersection down here, and we're going to have our local road, which will have default. We're going to have it come out in as far as we want. But look what happens. As soon as we do that, it automatically puts zoning on this other road. So what we're going to have to do is come back to our 4-lane road with no zoning, click the upgrade icon, and take away the zoning. That means that the houses will only be building on this road right here. Okay? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to extend this 4-lane road out by another 10. That way I can have another junction going out in the opposite direction. So I said I want to limit the number of 4-way intersections. But what I can do here with these local roads is every 4th node, 1, 2, 3, 4, I can have a 4-way intersection. So we'll have this one also come out 20 units in that way. But I want to have zoning on these roads. So if you have no zoning, but then come back here to default and click on the upgrade, if you just upgrade these roads, then it only puts zoning on these local roads. So that's the other way you can do it, is you can put it in with no zoning and then go back in and put zoning in. So what we want to do is we want to do default, and I'm going to build a 3-way thing right here. And you see how there's a circle around the dark circle in the middle? That tells you the edges of the zoning. So if you put the zoning right here and have the edge of that circle meet the edge of this road, what it does is it allows zoning to touch this road, but it's not zoned on that road. It's all zoned on this road right here. And then we can come over here to where the edge of the circle meets the edge of the zoning squares, and we can zone up and it will fill all that in. Now, if you go one beyond that, what that does is that leaves a space in the middle for you to put a walkway or a biking path or a sidewalk right in the middle of the zoning. We don't want to do that because the roads have sidewalks, and as we upgrade the roads to have trees, what will happen is the people will bike and also walk on the sidewalks, and Sims will move quite a long way to actually go to bus stations, go to tram stations, go to metro stations, whatever. So let's extend this local road out another 10. We're getting dangerously close to the highway, and that's okay. And then what we want to do is we'll have a straight road come out like that, and then this circle is exactly in the middle of that. We will divide this section up just like that. Okay, and that's a nice place to start to build our residential zones. And we can do the same thing on this other side if we want. What we're going to do is we're just going to focus on this section right here to build our residence. We'll put commercial along the outside on this big tall road, and we'll put industry over here, and we'll use some industry roads over here. So again, we're going to try and limit the number of four-way intersections. So I'm going to come to the middle of this road right here, and I'm going to come up to right there. Okay, and then I'm going to come out to, I don't want to have intersections. I mean, you can have 3 ways every 10, because on the arterial road that's fine. The thing is, if I had moved it down one additional space, I could have 4 houses on one side and then a set of 4 of commercial on the other side, because these take 11 out instead of 10 out. Yeah, we'll just do that right there, and we'll have an intersection right there, and then a long space. So there we go. This is all zoned out. Now, I don't want to have zoning on the highway. So what we're going to do is we're going to select our 2-lane one-way, and we're going to have no zoning, and I'm just going to, if you right-click, it reverses the direction, but if you left-click, it keeps the direction and just takes away the zoning on the highway. That way you don't see zoning squares. We use the zoning squares to help us get our angles correct, and then on our one-ways, we don't want zoning on them either. So take the zoning away for the one-ways. So again, select all your one-ways and just left-click, and it will take away the zoning on the one-ways, and that way you're not tempted to be building on your highway on-ramps and off-ramps. And we do not want to be putting houses right next to the highway. Oh, whoops. I didn't want to downgrade that. Whoops. Okay. So now we have a nice little area to build our residence. We still have 37,000. We need to come out to the end of this 30 here, and we need to put in some industry. Now, we have some industry roads. Are these the industry roads here? Yeah, small industry roads, we have to have 1,600. So what we'll do is we'll just put in our local roads. Because with industry, what we really should do is we should have the small 4-lane road. So keep it just like it is on the other side. We're going to have a 4-lane road come out here, 2,430 units. And we'll have it even come out here, 2,400 for 30 units. Okay. And then we'll just go to our, maybe even just do a basic road with turning lane and have this be our industry roads. And coming out here, what we should do is we should come out an extra one because of this highway here. So instead of coming on this exact node, we'll come out 1 node beyond that, and we'll come out 30. Okay, And then we can go in and we can go to default and we can left click on this road, and then we can put the zoning in right here. And this is a good start to having our industry section over here. And then we can come out to, if you come out to 10 units, see, I went too far, so let's just get a refund of that. Come out exactly 10 units, and then if you go across, it just fills in those zoning spaces quite nicely. And we can just have the industry, then we can come out this way 10 units and come down to there. And this is a nice little place to have our industry. So we are now going to start zoning our places. So we're going to have industry over here in this section on these roads. We're going to put our residential in these sections here. Okay, I'm on the fill tool. Let's suppose if I do, I'm on the fill tool. If I go on the select tool, I can say that I want to have the houses maybe not there. So if you left click it zones it, right clicks will unzone it. I just want to have the houses we'll have the houses before on this road, and then we'll have the commercial be on the big arterial road. And then we'll have these ones right here by the highway come out 4, and then we can put residents on this road to there, and we can have them be on this road there. But we don't want residents to be, maybe just not zone those 2 squares, because we don't want to have residents too close to the highway, because if they're too close to the cars, they'll start to get sick from the noise. And then we can also zone in this square, and we can zone in all of this, but we're going to leave these 2 spaces right there so we can extend this road down if we want to extend out in that direction. Okay, and then we also want to have commercial over on this side of the main arterial. Oh, no, commercial. So we need to right click, dezone that, left click, zone in all of that for commercial. And with any luck, the industry, if we dezone all of this and just have the first industry buildings come into here, the electricity should jump from the commercial on this side to that over there. So we have 25,000. And I truly hope it's enough to build our water stuff over here. We're going to put in an inland sewage plant and then some power lines. Okay, so what we need is we need to put in our water pumping station, and we want to have it out here picking up the water. So it has to be on the beach, and it has to be, see how it snaps to the beach? Slope is too steep, but we can snap it right here. So we want to have it so our pipes going down into the water are taking the water. I want to turn it around, and I want to put it right there. Okay, and that little notification right there is that it doesn't have any pipes connected to it. We'll get there. And now we want to put in our first power plant. And this shows the area where the wind is. And there's a lot of wind right over here. I can get up to 8 megawatts, I mean. And if you place the windmill close enough to the water pumping station, you see how the windmill now powers that water pumping station. I don't have to drag power lines to that water pumping station. All I have to do is put power lines across here, and maybe go, and then we'll add power lines where we need the power lines, because power lines are horribly expensive. So what we want to do is we want to have power line come right there, and we want to have it just touch power this thing right here. So right here on the edge where it touches 2,840. We're now down to 15,000, and we still need to do water pipes. So this is where it's going to be fun, because these water pipes are $8 per cell, and that's the upkeep of $20 per cell. So we need to have from the water station to the road. This is 3,000. This is 3,000 money right there, 3420. And best practices is to have your water pipe under the middle of the road. So if we start there and go straight under this big road, come out to here, and then water our industry. And then we also want to come down this main road right there, and then also have it, because I built these 20 units away, the edges don't overlap that much. And then I built this 20 units away. There. The residence is watered. Okay, industry is watered in the middle, commercial's watered. And then we can run a pipe out to, we have 10,000. We can run a pipe right out to there. We have 6,915. We have our zoning. We have our electricity. And as it builds up, the electricity will connect and spread electricity across. If I need to put electricity across the highway, I can. If I need to put some into industry, I can. So make sure we have our zoning set up. The zoning is set for right here for now. And then as we need more, we'll zone into where we watered, because we didn't water these squares down here. So let's crank it up to 3-speed, and let's see what we get. So you'll see that we start to have some buildings come in. They have water, they don't have power, but as they start to build commercial, the electricity will spread. So we have a huge zone for residential. The one thing I did not put in, the water treatment plant. Now, here's what we used to use. We used to use a water drain pipe, $2,500 to build, $320 a week. This water treatment plant is $2,500 to build, $320 a week, and we don't have a water dumping station on the exterior over by the water. So what we're going to do is we're going to put the water pumping station. We're not going to put it right here on the end, because then if we want to extend the road, we can't. We're going to go one away from the end. We're going to put it right there, and we're going to run pipes. We still have 3,000 gold. We're going to run pipes right to that. And then it's going to need electricity before it can start to function. And when industry comes in, it should spread the electricity. So we need to have industry zoning in all of that. So let's go back to our 3-speed. We need to have our first commercial buildings come in, and it needs to just spread across to industry, and we might have to build up. Okay, so what we can do, we have 2,000, we still have 2,000, and see how the commercial is coming in right there in those few squares? This is where the electricity will spread and everything should start to be connected. There it goes. And then our first industry buildings are going to start to spread. But we need to have electricity from the residence over to the industry. So while we still have $2,000, we're going to pause the game really fast. And I'm going to take, this square is unzoned, like there's no squares right there. I'm going to take it across the highway. And then I'm going to bring it right here to where it begins to touch the blue. And that should spread the electricity. Yep, there we go. The electricity is spread. As it builds up, the electricity will still spread. It just needs to have one more building right over there for the pumping station to work. There we go. The electricity is spread. And we're still losing money, but we also have residents coming in. We have 128, and our budget is getting dangerously low, but it's also building back up. So our deficit is decreasing. 534, 509, 486, 439, 422. So we're going to go into the red a little bit, but this will eventually go into the green and will eventually get out of our deficit. 185, 168, 143. Come on, come on. We're down to 95. We have 42 bucks, 32 bucks. I think we're going to go into the red. It's going to be close, $72 down. Yeah, we're $18 in the hole. Oh, the other thing I want to do is right now I don't want to play with day-night cycle. I don't want to play with that yet. When I start building up bigger things, I'll go into the night cycle and I'll show you how cool it looks. Okay, we're 37 down. Okay, we are now in the positive, $12 in the positive, and we basically went all the way to zero. Everything is watered, everything has electricity, and as the commercial gets across the highway, if it spreads from here to there, we'll be able to delete these power lines. So as you'll notice right here, that one stoplight. Okay, so it's letting it's having the cars. You see how they're only going one at a time, and everyone's coming into the city. So what we're going to do here is we're going to come here to Traffic Manager President Edition, and we're going to come to this one that looks like an X. And it says Junction Restrictions, and we're going to click on this junction right here. And on all these guys turning left, we're going to say enter the junction, even if it's busy. And what that'll do is when it comes time for the left turn on them to go, it will allow the entire ramp to exit. All because of that one thing right there. And we'll also let it do the U-turns, because we let it do U-turns and we let these guys do U-turns. We can do the same thing for the opposing side and its opposing side. You want to click on that one that says allow cars to go into the intersection even if the intersection is busy. And the same thing, leaving the highway on this other side, when we get there, let it go into the intersection, even if the intersection's busy. That way, when it comes their turn to go, it will empty the ramp and they can all go. So we're now 498 in the positive, approaching 500. 500 in the positive. We've already made 2,000 money. And just let the money build up for a little while. We have commercial coming in. We have a huge need for residential, but I don't have a lot of money right now, and we only have 277 population. The 3-speed to start your city is great. As you start to get your milestones in, like for example, our first milestone is to have a population of 550, and we want to take this city all the way up to having monuments right here at 80,000. But our very first milestone is Little Hamlet, so that's what we want to do. We want to get to a population of 550 to get our little hamlet, because that will activate landfills, elementary schools, medical center, our recycling center, our community school, and then all these extra things that I have downloaded from the workshop, like this medical clinic and the rural clinic and the medical research rework network, and also government buildings and all sorts of cool things. We can also put in this is Vision Eye Care, so we get a little bit of medical. So I have some custom things we can use for medical. We want to get to 550. So we're making a bit of money. So what I'm going to do here is we're going to have to destroy some homes, and we're going to have to put in some water pipes and some roads. But we need to have more residents, because this little icon right here on top of the store says that there's not enough workers. Okay, so we need to have more residents. And I really don't want to have a 4-way intersection except on the 4th, but we can have have 3-way intersections all around. The other thing I want to do, you see how there's all these funky crosswalks here? What I want to do off camera really fast is I want to go in with our node controller and our intersection marking tool and fix all of the intersections here that we currently have and make them look nicer. So I'll be back in just a moment with the fix to the intersections. Okay, here we are. I have gone around and I have put decorations in all of the intersections. So these intersections that used to be kind of, the crosswalks look kind of weird. Now the crosswalks are straight, there's lines in them. The intersections just look more interesting that way. The roads look interesting. And I want to show you the difference between the vanilla, these are the default crosswalks when you make an intersection. This is what the game makes in. You see how the zebra lines are kind of curved and they kind of are really wonky? So what we can do with our node controller, we can click on that node. Let's make it 12 units. And then right here on the marking, let's take the markings away. Okay? And then what we can do with our intersection marking tool, we can click on this intersection. If you hold down Shift before you make a click, it'll make these little circles turn to elongated ovals, and you can then draw a crosswalk across it. Look how much nicer these crosswalks look. They're not curved, they're not slanted, they're nice and straight, they look really good. And then what you can do, because you have the crosswalks in, you can add in the solid line for the parking and just go from line to line to parking, and the crosswalk will separate the line. It's really cool the way it does that. And then we'll do the solid line across here, and then we'll just do a dotted line in the middle showing the corners as well as straight across. See, that's how I made the intersection. Now, the intersection marking tool isn't just for intersections. If you click on a section of road, it will turn purple. And what that will allow you to do, it will allow you to draw a line separating the edge of the road from the parking spaces. That way you can decorate the roads as well as the intersection. If we come over here, we can do the same thing. We can draw a solid white line there and a solid white line there, and it just makes the roads look even better. So you can decorate roads with it, you can decorate intersections with it. The other thing I like to do, here in the United States, we do have arrows that point straight to the right, but I have never seen a road where arrows point right and left. So right here with the Traffic Manager President Edition, if you click on this little arrow icon right here, and then you select the length of road, you can select the arrows that it shows. Like if you want to have straight and right, you can do that, or you can just have it not be any arrows at all. And so that's what I've done all over everywhere that I could find, is arrows that are pointing right and left, I've taken them out. Like right here, this one's pointing right and left, we'll just take it out. We don't really need to see right and left. Now the reason that I like to use this small 4-lane road and then have it go to 2-lane roads, what it does is it gives you a dedicated turning lane. Like for example, all of these that have straight or to the left, what you can do is you can make it so you have a dedicated turn lane with the arrow icon. The other thing that you can do is you can click the intersection and it will do the same thing. So let's find another place where, like for example, if we click that intersection, it adds in an arrow right there, even though we really technically don't need an arrow right there because it makes it look too busy. But for places where it gives you straight and to the left, if you click the intersection, it'll give you a dedicated left turn lane. Now what that does is it allows this outer lane to go to either of those 2 lanes, and then it makes it so traffic doesn't get in each other's way. Now I've left this on 3-speed. I'm still at right around 210 people. Oh no. Oh dear. So we've lost electricity, and so since we lost electricity to the thing out here, they're running about through, so I'm losing population. What we need to do is we need to reconnect. We need to reconnect over here, and all we want is residential. We don't want a lot of industry right now. So what I'm going to do with Rico, I'm going to go over here to industry, and I'm going to see where the electricity hasn't spread over here. So I need to put a big industrial building right over there. And since it's Rico, it'll be a historical building. So what do we want to put over here in industry? We want to put in this building right here. And we'll just look at if we put this building right there, it will spread the electricity over to the rest of the area. And then we can have our sewage back again, and we can build our population back up again, because we're in the deficit again. So here we have our little village, we have our industry over here. It still needs more people. What I like to do with Rico Oh, whoops. Look, see, I missed the intersections here on this big 4-lane road. So what I need to do here with our intersection marking tool, and you can spend hours and hours and hours and hours doing this. We need to have our lines with our dotted line going across. And then we need to do the same thing to this intersection, having our dotted lines go around the corner and then having the dotted line right there. That way, it just makes the intersections look more interesting. The other thing that you can do, if you don't want to have lines going this way, you can have the dotted line go through just like that, and you can hold down Shift and Control and put a double solid white line right in the middle. And then if you wanted to have it look just like that, you could. And then do the same thing over here. If you go over the line that you've already drawn, it'll put a red line and will delete it. And then start your line, hold Shift and Control, and it will do a double solid down the middle. And then just have either would look just fine on this 2-lane road. Now you see how we have arrows pointing in multiple directions here. So click on Traffic Manager Present Edition, click on the arrows, Control, click the intersection, and it will give you dedicated turn lanes. And then what I like to do is I don't like to have arrows pointing right and left. So I just take those out, and like on this one right here, I don't want to have arrows pointing right and left. But these ones that point straight and to the right, that's fine. And then everything is decorated, everything looks nice, but we need to build our population up because we're in the deficit right now. We only have 173 people. And these vanilla houses, they look okay. Let's put in some Rico, some low density Rico. Let's put in some apartment buildings. Like this one has one household, this household has one household, this one has one household. I want to put in something that has more than one household. Household one, let's put in some high density. 29 households, size 3x5. So this may be high density residential, but it's going to give us some nice. Housing right here. So let's put a big house right there. That'll put in some more houses and give us a little. It's not terribly tall, but it allows us to get in. If we want to put in some really tall buildings and actually start making a skyline, we could. That's why I love Rico. So right here in the middle of this road, it's going to take out 2 houses, but it's going to give us 114 houses. And it will also help kill our residential demand. Because right now, we don't have 114 households, but when the people start moving in, because we need a whole bunch of people, they can live in this big building. Another cool thing that node controllers can do, on these big long roads that have big long segments, you can click, like let's say we want to put a crossing right here in the middle of the road. We click right there, we can add a crossing. And then that's putting in the vanilla crossing. We don't like that, so let's go to our intersection marking tool. Actually, no, I take that back. Node controller, click on this crossing, and then say have no marking, and then go to intersection marking tool and manually put in our own crossing, because our crosswalks with intersection marking tool look so much better than the vanilla ones. And then we can use our arrow on our traffic manager and take the arrows away. See, doesn't that look nice? And then what we can do with intersection marking tool on these segments, we can draw our solid line right down the side of it. And then on this section, we can draw our solid line right down the side. Okay, so now this big building we just put in, let's get out of that. Now has 99 of 114 households. We're getting some people in, but we still have you see our residential demand is starting to go down. So let's add in some other towers. Like let's add in some high density Rico buildings. And we can also get some, see we have some more commercial demand, so commercial's starting to build up again. But let's put in a big commercial tower right here in this block. Let's put in a mixed use building. So let's come down here to the mixed use. And this has 80 workplaces and it's a size 5x5. So let's put it in right here in the middle here. So we'll still leave room for a big tower to appear right there on that corner. Let's put that in right there. And that's our commercial. And then let's come to high density residential and find the tower that fits with it. So it could be this building. I think it is this building. I think it's that building right there. And so you see how this building by itself is missing the lower sections of it, but it matches the tower of that. So let's put that in right there. And then since it's offset just a little bit, what we can do with move it, we can select this and just very carefully put it into position. Now, there we go. And now we have this big tall building right there. Nice big tall building, and it has 104 households as well as mixed use 6 commercial 5x5. So we have commercial to fix our commercial demand, and with those buildings we put in, we reach our little hamlet population of 550 residents. We get landfills, we get elementary schools, we get Tokyo Government Building, which is our first unique building, which is super, super tall. We also get some hospitals and whatnot. So now that we have schools and medical, our citizens are going to start demanding for schools and medical. We also get taxes, we also get loans, garbage, healthcare, and education, campus areas. But we're not ready to build a campus because a campus is horribly expensive. When we unlock the vanilla university, that's when we'll start building our campus out. Okay, we get taxes and loans for our first building, our first milestone. So we're going to come into the economy here, and here on taxes, we're going to raise everything up to 12%. 12% is the maximum you can put it at before they start complaining about high taxes. On our loans, we're going to take our first loan and give ourselves a nice big comfortable chunk to play with. The other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to change the City Skylines radio to Animal Crossing GameCube. That way the music in the background can be something fun. The other thing I want to show off is I have this ultimate level of detail, like ultimate eye candy. And what this allows us to do is we can change the time of day. If we're doing day and night cycle, we can change all of that. But I'm going to take this global light intensity and I'm going to turn it down. It's like turning the gamma down. That way the buildings don't shine on the side of the face of the sun. I want to turn the global intensity down so we can at least see, even turn the ambient light down. I don't want to go like to the dark, but turn that down a bit, turn this down a bit more. That way we can still see the ground we're playing on, and it just makes it look a little bit better. The other thing we can do is we can also change the longitude and latitude, so we can have the sun be in any place we want it to be in. And we can shorten the shadows. We can put the sun like right overhead, or just have a little bit of shadows. See, and then we can, this is ultimate eye candy. So 8,914 households. So they're unhappy now because they don't have schools and they don't have a medical area. So we need to build a school, we need to build a medical center, we also need to have garbage pickup start happening. So let's, garbage and industry. The recycle center will allow us to have 24,000 pounds of processing per week. It will also create 240 kilowatts of electricity. The landfill has an 8 million row capacity, but it will fill up and then it has to be emptied. So if we do the recycle center at 240 a week versus the landfill at 160 a week, it costs a little bit more, but it processes the garbage. So if we put in a recycling center, and we'll put that opposite the water treatment plant, that will start to send out garbage trucks that will pick up the garbage. And what we really should do is because it has a median, we should connect it to this road down here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my small 4-lane road and I'm going to draw it out by another 20 meters. And then I'm going to take my small mode basic road with median and I'm going to have it connect right there. And then what I want to do is I want to take this 4-lane road and have it have no zoning, and I want to upgrade this road so there's no zoning on the 4-lane road. That way when the trucks come out, because it has a median, they'll just go around the block. I like this GameCube music for Animal Crossing more than I like the other stuff. So as the residents start to move in here, what is this? Citizens are sick, so we need to put in a medical center. And what we can do is we can put the services and the schools and whatnot, we can put them on the arterial roads because that'll give them huge coverage. So on the medical, we can do a hospital. It's $10,000 at $400 a week, or we can do what I like to do. I like to do this modern hospital privately owned at $16 a week and cost $10,000, and we have to have zoning on this road. So I think what I want to do is I want to put the medical center right here, have it be right there, and then just to make sure there's water. If I remember correctly, I put the water underneath that main road, and everything over here is watered, and only this middle path's right. So we have a hospital now, and you can see the ambulance is going out to get to the sick people. The only thing we have left to do is education. And so we need a nice little plot to put our school. And I'm thinking what we should do is we should put the school maybe right here where these two houses are. And schools that we can use, I've downloaded a bunch of schools from the workshop. We could also build like a little strip mall with a learning center in the strip mall if we want. Like we could put a little strip mall right down here if we wanted. Because, like, we could turn this. How many students is this process? 96 students. Yeah, no thanks. So we need a modern elementary school. Student capacity 600, 777 on a Japanese elementary school. Whereas the base elementary school up here houses 234. The community school houses 915. Interesting. The community school is 915. ABC Elementary is 1011, and it looks really cool too. It looks really cool. And the Japanese Elementary School houses 777. So let's put in the community school. Let's turn the white off. The community school looks really nice. It was part of Green Cities. It looks really, really nice. It does 915. We have a population of 717. Whereas ABC Elementary is a little bit smaller, but it houses 1,011 students. So let's bulldoze these two houses. Let's put in the elementary school right there and make everybody happy. So there, now we have an elementary school, we have a hospital, and the nice thing about this hospital is as you put them in, it picks a random color of the building. Like this hospital came in as kind of brown and red. It also has a parking lot. And when we start to get public transportation, I'll build a big parking lot, like a park and ride lot, and then we'll put buses around the city. So we have 748. Our next milestone is going to be Worthy Village at 1,100 residents, and I think that's going to be our next episode. So what we did in this episode, just to recap, we decorated all the roads. I put white lines everywhere. Let's say we wanted to have another crosswalk. On this big long road that only has crosswalks at the end, let's add one more crosswalk. As you can see, there's a node right here in the middle of this road, right there. Let's click that right there, and let's have that be a crossing, but not have, see that's the vanilla crosswalk, they look horrible. Like they're jaggedy in the middle. Let's have no marking, and use our intersection marking tool. Hold down Shift, and just draw both of the crosswalks. And the zipper crosswalk, it looks okay, or we can just have crosswalks go into one section But that right there looks infinitely better than having the vanilla crosswalks. So let's put in that. And then the other place I wanted to add a second crosswalk was on this road. So let's have it just be kind of off-centered right there, and then have no crossing. And then when we do, because it's not in the exact middle, when we do this one, it shouldn't give us a zipper. It should just be straight and plain like that. That gives us a nice crossing right there. But let's have that be the end of our second episode. And we have fun music to end with. We put in a big tall tower. We're building up our residents. They have elementary schools, they have hospitals, and we have garbage processing right over here on our recycling center. And now that we've put down a recycling center, we can click on the garbage and you can see that our processing status is we're producing 2,000 units and we have 24,000 units we can process. So our processing is just amazing. We're in the green, we're bringing in 1,400 a week, and we have 803 residents. Let's call that good for our second episode. And Crestfall is starting to take shape. And you notice how this one intersection right here, it handles quite a lot of traffic. So the cars coming off the highway, they stop at the light and it's their turn, they can go. No one's getting in each other's way. The residents can walk across the highway. When we convert these into highway roads, then the residents will be able to cross the highway just fine because there'll be a sidewalk on either side and they can just go right across. But I love how the city's turning about, and we have some tall towers in already because I love Rico. I love the way that works. And I have lots and lots of towers we can put in. And houses are leveling up and commercials coming in. We can build a big shopping mall if we want. I have the shopping mall downloaded. We can build a big shopping mall. And what we'll do in our next episode, I'm going to ban parking on this big long avenue. The companies have parking lots. They can park in the parking lots, not on the side of the road. But let's call that good for episode 2. If you enjoyed this episode, I can't hide my cursor. If you enjoyed this episode, please feel free to give me a thumbs up, rate me a like, and click the subscription button if you haven't subscribed to the channel, and the notification bell so you always know when new content comes out. Also, please tell your friends about me so they can come and they can enjoy these videos and they can enjoy these tutorials just as much as you do. Finally, and most importantly of all, please remember this. City Skylines is just a game. And games are meant to be fun, and of course playing in a sandbox game like this, you're supposed to have a lot of fun. So if you're not having fun, you're not doing it right. Meet me back here next time for episode 3 when we grow our city a little bit more. We'll add some more roads in, we'll add some more tall towers in, we'll get some more residents in, we'll get our next milestone of 1,100 residents, and if we have the time, we'll work towards getting our first public transit in to help with traffic. I look forward to bringing you those future episodes, and I hope you'll join me next time for episode 3. But until then, I'm Z, signing off.